Joe, alongside by the WEC General Manager, Reed Harris. Reed, WEC 42 weekend. What a weekend it is for MMA. UFC 101 in Philadelphia, and then on Sunday, the MMA continues with WEC 42, Miguel Torres, Brian Bowles, also Joseph Benavidez, Dominic Cruz, live and only on the Versus Network. Reed, tell me your thoughts as we head for a major weekend in the sport.
Well, you know, I told Dana it was the biggest weekend in MMA, and that what I said is that people should get home Friday, lock the doors, order a bunch of pizzas, order some beer, watch UFC Saturday night, watch us Sunday night, and then if you look on the web, there's actually an excuse permission form that I've done that they can then download and print and take into their boss on Monday and take the day off. Okay?
Well, I know a lot of people certainly appreciate that. Let's talk about the matches. Miguel Torres, Brian Bowles, something that's very interesting. #1 fighter, one of the best fighters pound for pound in the world, in Miguel Torres going against #1 contender Brian Bowles. Again, for the second straight event, you get the best fighter in the world in his weight class fighting the #1 contender. That doesn't happen often within a year, much less back-to-back events.
That's absolutely true. As a promoter, you hope for maybe once a year to have a fight where you can have the #1 guy versus the #2 guy. Now I've got them back-to-back, and then I've got Miguel Torres fighting Brian Bowles, who's ranked by almost every site as #2 in the world. Miguel said something to me that was really, I thought, enlightening as far as a fighter's perspective. He told me the other day, he goes, when Brian Bowles shows up, he's going to be in the best shape of his life, and he's going to step in that cage and look at me, and I'm the only thing standing in his way of changing his life forever by taking my belt.
Yes.
So that's, and I'm not going to let that happen. But Miguel knows that every fight that gets in front of him now, when he's our title holder, is really a fight for his life, as far as the sport goes, because everybody's coming in gunning for Miguel's belt.
Well, it's obviously a Super Bowl fight. Every fight now, it just has so much riding on it. Anything can change. Fighters' lives, as you were talking about, can change. One of those guys whose lives may have changed but didn't so quickly was Takeya Mizugaki, who went head-to-head with Miguel Torres. What a 5-round war. Reed, as you were watching that fight, what went through your mind?
Well, what's funny is I watched it again last night. It was on the record show on Versus, and I watched it again last night. It was an amazing fight, and Takeya Mizugaki came in completely ready to go at Miguel. He did it for 5 rounds. And to be honest with you, when Mizugaki went back to Japan, he was hailed as a hero. Even though he lost the fight, he became a household name in America. He's now fighting again on this next card against Jeff Curran. And if he wins that fight, I think he's going to circle back and maybe get another shot at Miguel.
If Miguel gets past Brian, I know that the #1 contendership is between Joseph Benavidez and Dominic Cruz.
That's right.
But is there in the realm of possibility that we could see Mizugaki Torres sometime in early 2010, assuming things go according to plan for both fighters?
That's right, assuming that, because obviously anything can happen in the cage, and it does, by the way. As a promoter, you never bank on anything happening. You always have a plan B and a plan C. But yeah, I'd like to see them fight again. And we've got Dominic Cruz fighting, and Dominic Cruz's only loss is to Joseph Benavidez' training partner, Uriah Faber, who at 145, who's obviously a formidable opponent, against Joseph Benavidez. And the winner of that fight, I think the implications there are the winner of that fight would fight the winner of the Bowles Torres fight in the future.
There are a lot of guys that are hungry in the WEC. One of those guys, as you mentioned, Brian Bowles. He's been training 2 weeks at American Top Team with Mike Brown. Has brought in Micah Miller, who's a former WEC fighter, to work with him extensively at the Hardcore Gym. Tell me about what your thoughts are on Brian Bowles and how much he is really training to get ready for the David of the WEC Bantamweight division in Miguel Torres.
Right. What Brian Bowles told me is that he's actually grateful that he suffered the injury because it allowed him to sit and watch Mizugaki fight Torres. He felt like he saw some holes in Miguel's game. He's going to try to exploit those in this fight on Sunday. He reminds me of a small Forrest Griffin. They train at the same gym. He's got the same style. He's a great wrestler. He's got a good guillotine. He's also got a really big right hand. And Miguel knows that he's going to be throwing that right hand at him and trying to catch him. And as we know from watching this for years, with 4-ounce gloves on, and if you get caught, that's it. No matter who you are. So I think Brian Bowles has got a really good chance of winning this fight.
So in your opinion, it's a toss-up fight then between Torres and Bowles. You could go either way?
Right, I think Miguel's got the advantage just because of his experience. He's I think 37-1. He hasn't lost in a long time, and is considered, if not one of the pound-for-pound best guys, maybe the pound-for-pound best guys. Miguel Torres is the only fighter I've seen in any sport that when he goes in, he will fight you at what you're good at. If you challenge him to stand with them, they'll stand with him. If a guy says Miguel can't go to the ground with me, he'll take him down. And very few guys do that. Miguel Torres does not fight not to lose, which a lot of champions do. Miguel Torres fights to win. And that's why he's so entertaining.
Well, and that has certainly gained a lot of publicity for the WEC around the world. Japan is buzzing over the WEC worldwide. Numbers are through the roof. This is the first time, I believe, that this event is going to be offered on a pay-per-view style broadcast for the rest of the world, with the exception of North America. I know that there are 10 events planned for 2010. Reed, you were at the beginning of the WEC.
Right.
How does it make you feel when you see the overall global expansion, not just national exposure, but the global expansion of World Extreme Cage Fighting?
I'll tell you, it's an incredible thing to be a part of. When we started this company, we went to venues and they would look at us and just say, we don't want to do that. I remember a casino saying, we're a family operation, and I was thinking they have gambling here, and you can rent porno movies in their hotel rooms, you know? And so I didn't know how much of a family operation they were. But we finally convinced one of the casino in Lemoore, California, which is like 40 miles from anywhere, to do the show. It's called the Tachi Palace, and we ended up doing 22 shows there. Almost everyone sold out. The first show I did, I had over 4,500 people come. The casino representative came up to me on the stage and they leaned over and they said, maybe we should talk about doing the second one. And at that point I thought, you know what, this could work, because we had actually planned on doing one show, that was it, and see how it went. So.
Well, it certainly is translated to 1 to 10 in 2010. Any plans pay-per-view wise? I know that there was talk about that in 2009. It doesn't look like that is going to matriculate unless something drastic happens on the line. But 2010 pay-per-view in North America, Reed, is that where you guys are angling for?
Yes, it is. And we had planned on doing one actually with Brown Faber too. We had talked about doing a pay-per-view there. Versus came to us, and Versus is a great partner of ours, and said, look, we'd really like to do this fight. You know, we've been with you guys for 2.5 years, and this is kind of the culmination of that, is that, you know, this huge fight we had, and we had great television ratings. With the original broadcast in the first week of replays, we had over 6 million people see it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great.
Let's look ahead quickly to Mike Brown, Jose Aldo.
Yeah,
what a fight that is going to be coming up. I believe in the month of November should be an incredible fight between Mike Brown and Jose Aldo. Yeah. Give me your preliminary thoughts on this mega matchup. Jose Aldo's been running through everybody like a buzzsaw. Mike Brown has really shown that he's the cream of the crop in the WEC featherweight division.
Mike Brown is so well-rounded, and I don't know if Jose Aldo's ever fought anybody like Mike Brown, but on the other hand, Mike Brown is a really methodical, strong guy. Jose Aldo was so unpredictable, man. I mean, you saw what happened with Cub Swanson with the knee within the first 5 or 8 seconds of the fight. So it's a toss-up, and it's going to be different styles and different fighting kind of thought processes going into that cage. You know, Jose Aldo is going to go out gunning for him. Mike Brown, I think, is going to be methodical and throw that big right that he's got and try to catch him, and so we'll see what happens. You know, that's a great fight, though.
Reed, we're in Las Vegas, the fighting capital of the world, and also notorious for gaming. If you were a betting man, and I know that you try to stay away from this, but prediction-wise, co-main event, Joseph Benavidez, Dominic Cruz, if you were a betting man, who would you go with?
I bet it's going to be a good fight. How's that?
Is that what I'm going to hear from the Miguel Torres?
That's exactly what you're going to hear. Because you know what? I don't know. To be honest with you, my friends used to call me on UFC shows and ask me what my opinion was. I think a couple of them even went and bet based on what I told them. They lost all their money, so I'm not the guy to ask.
So you're not going to tell me who's going to win out of Flores, Griffin, Anderson, Silva, and Kenny Florian, BJ Penn?
Well, I think that it just depends on how the fights go, and that's the thing I've learned by doing this, is that, you know, a guy can have even a superior set of skills in one regard, the other guy in the other regard. It just depends on how the fights go. I know that Kenny Florian's going to take it to BJ Penn. That's for sure. And I know that Anderson Silva hasn't really fought anybody like Forrest Griffin, as big and strong as Forrest is. So I think they're going to be great fights, and I can't tell you who's going to win.
Reed, what an amazing weekend. Really appreciate you guys doing your part with WEC 42. We're going to take our noting to work, and hopefully that all works out.
It will.
The WEC
Reed
Harris joining us here.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.